Hi, today's episode is Get Noticed Now. A lot of new beginning music photographers have an issue with getting noticed, and they have problems getting media passes and getting admittance to music events and that sort of thing. Today I'm going to cover how to get noticed, why social media is very important, and how to use it. The importance of social media is very important. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to help you to get noticed. How do you get noticed? Well, let's face it, if you keep all your photographs on a disk drive somewhere or in a book somewhere, nobody's going to come look at them. Why? What are they going to see? So you have to be able to get your photographs out so people can see them. And the best way to do that is through the internet and social media. I don't know that much about TikTok or Twitter, but I can tell you one of the things we did when we first started this is we went out and got a website, and we set that website up so that I could put my portfolio and organize my portfolio on the website. We went out and got an Instagram account and Facebook, and using those three things it helped quite a bit. And then eventually we branched out to YouTube. But I would definitely recommend, if you're starting out and getting you a website, something other than something that says bill@gmail.com. People don't remember that, and everybody and their brother's got a gmail.com address. My web address is robert@robertcmaxfield.com. It's all about the name, that it brings people to see me, not gmail.com, and it's easy to remember. You need to have a place where you can put your best work out. And after I went out and started the website and started putting my portfolio out on the website, I started putting some of it out on Instagram. And when you take and do a new photo shoot, you'll want to put a little bit of it out on Instagram at a time. Not all of it, just a little bit here and there to give a taste of what you're capable of doing. Another thing that's good about it is you want to get involved in usually Facebook groups. Facebook groups and forums is a good place to get noticed because there's several groups on music photography. There's you can build your own page. You can put about you, what you do, where you're located. You can send people directly to your Facebook page, and people will see some of your work that you place there. It helps you gain a following. It's also a great way to find people. I shot a photograph of a drummer 42 years ago. It's hard to believe, 42 years ago. And the group that I shot is a national, worldwide touring band, and they have been for years. And I didn't know who the picture of the drummer was. I didn't know what his name was. So I went out to the internet, got online, looked up the band. They have a Wikipedia. I got out there and started seeing who was their drummer and at what time and what time frames. And I matched the personnel for the band at the time in which I remembered shooting the photograph. I found the guy's name. I got out on Facebook, found he had a Facebook page. So I instant messaged him and said, "Is this photo a picture of you?" 2 weeks later, I get a message back during the Super Bowl in the third quarter. It says, "Yes, that's me. That's a great shot." He said, "Did you take the picture?" And I answered him back, "Yes, a long, long time ago, and thank you very much. That helps me out tremendously." It let me know it was the person I actually had been looking for. So without Facebook, without his website, the band's website, without Wikipedia, none of that would have been possible. Oh, and by the way, today's video is brought to you by Steve and the great people at Southwest Graphic Arts. And I want to thank Tasty in Texas for the great brownies. I've been munching on them all day. So we want to thank Tasty in Texas for the brownies. They're wonderful. And they're sugar-free too. So how do you like that? One of the things that you'll also find out is that a lot of musicians have Instagram accounts, they have web pages, they have Facebook, so they all have those kind of things. So when you go ahead and you put a photograph out on Instagram or Facebook, go ahead and tag it and make sure that you have in the listing of all your tags a place that notifies the artist or the band that you'd photograph. One of the coolest things about that is a lot of times I'll send the headliner the message, and then he'll send copies of the photograph through tags to other band members, and they'll reply back to me, and I'll have a conversation back and forth between virtually a lot of people in the band. So that's one way to get noticed by people. It's one way to get to interact with some of the musicians in the bands that you're photographing. By the way, when you do it, please go ahead and tell them thank you and that you appreciate them very much. It helps out. It's a great way to network with other photographers also. When I did my Instagram, I put out my photographs and they'd go out to certain places, none of them which I knew anything about, and eventually other photographers would see my work, and then they would start to follow me, and then I would look at their work, and in some cases, a lot of cases, I'd follow them back. So I learned pretty quickly that I could find followers that were other, not only musicians, they were promoters, they were venues. There's all these different people interact through Instagram, and it's not just your local area that does it, but I've got followers that are in Belgium and Finland and England, and I deal with publications also in various places around the world that also deal with Instagram. They deal with Facebook. They have blogs. It's a great way to interact with other people that are doing the same thing that you are. You could also get advice, they can converse back and forth with each other, and it's very helpful. Okay, another thing that social media is really, really good for, or the internet in general, is, let's face it, I've been a music photographer for going on, I guess, 45 years. And when I started photographing big arena concerts, Van Halen, Journey, Bad Company, people like that. And back in those days, you didn't have to have a media pass. You could walk right through the door with a camera. Nobody would stop you, say boo to you. And it wasn't until probably the early 80s that security and that kind of thing came to a screeching halt. So I remember looking through the viewfinder, and I'm standing stage left, and I'm shooting Electric Light Orchestra, ELO, and through my viewfinder, through the lens, I see two guys rushing me up from behind the stage, and it was on. The chase was on. It started about then. I've got a great picture of Jeff Lynne. Thank you, Jeff. They didn't catch me, so what can I tell you? If you're not familiar with an artist, like a lot of things, I'm not naturally a Texas red dirt and Americana photographer, but I've been doing a lot of it and I really enjoy it. So there's a lot of artists I don't know, and what I'll do is I'll get on YouTube, punch them into the YouTube and say, hey, you know, what do they sound like? And if I like their sound, I like their stage presence, I like the way they look, I'll put them on my list of bands to photograph. So that's how I make a determination as to whether I want to shoot somebody or not. It's whether I like them, if I can see them on YouTube. Also on YouTube, you get an idea about how they behave and how they act, their mannerisms, as far as their stage presence. There are some that are more animated, some that are move around quicker than others. it's a great way to find out how they actually behave, where you can get photographs from them. You can tell just by watching their stage show on YouTube. I do this with drummers quite a bit. The other day I had shot a band and I didn't know the drummer for some reason. I just didn't know who he was. And I went and I wrote the artist and said, "Hey, who is your drummer? I need to have some information on him so I can put out a video on him." And the headliner came back and he said, "Oh, my drummer's name is Chris," and tagged him, and he answered me back too and said, "Yeah, that's me." So that's very handy. I also did on Instagram. I put out some pictures, and I said, "Man, I took pictures of this guy. He opened for Jason Boland and the Stragglers. I don't know who he is. I heard him say his name, but it was loud, and I couldn't tell who he is." And I said, "Does anybody know who this guy is?" And I get a message back from another photographer that I know, and he says, "Oh, that's Braden." Okay, so he tags Braden. They both answer me back. They say, "Yeah, that's me. That's a great shot. That's me." Okay, so that came in very, very handy. So I add it to my notes. I give them credit. I thank you, and I thank them. And that's one of the easiest way to get noticed is if you don't know somebody, ask out there, and somebody's bound to know. I had some photographs I shot a long time ago, and I wasn't for sure who was in the video. I mean, in the photograph. And so I posted it out on one of the forums on Facebook, and somebody comes back and said, "God, that's Blue Oyster Cult from a long, long time ago." I couldn't tell, but they did. So now I know, and I labeled my film strips with that, and came in very, very handy. When you need to know an artist you're interested in is in your area. Google them. Go out, do a Google search, find where they are. They have a listing on their website of their tour dates and their venues are going to be. Find out what's closest to you or where you can go. They even have Spotify or something on there where you can listen to their music. They'll have events to tell you what their latest event is going to be, and their latest concert, their latest tour, the latest music. That's very handy. Also, it's one of the best ways to find out anything about their bio, where they're from. In some cases you can find out that part of their name is what they go by on a stage name, and their full name is something you didn't know. You want to know how to contact someone. There's a lot of people out there asking, how do I get a media pass, or how do I do that? The start off is on most artist websites. They've got a contact us, and it has a listing of their PR people, a listing of their management, a listing of their label, and all those addresses. Quite simply, an email sent to them politely asking, if you may photograph them, tell them who you are and what you do, and if what you can provide for them. Like most of the time, I will provide photographs for them to use if they would like, and it's one of the best ways to find out how to contact someone is to look at their website, or other ways. Find them on Instagram, send them an Instagram instant message, or find them on Facebook if you don't find a website. Also, Instagram, your website, Facebook, it lets other photographers see your work. So it lets them know what your work is like. The other, in reverse, is you can see what other photographers' work is like. You can see what a lot of bands, musicians, what they're getting right now for photographs, and if and video and see what the quality of that is, and you can actually ask yourself, can I do a better job than that? Doesn't mean you have to go out there and say, hey, look, buddy, I can do a better job than that, but it gives you an idea of what their current presence is. You can look and see what they have. And a lot of times they'll have what's called an EPK, an electronic press kit, that you can see, and this is what they present to record labels, venues, various people, that festivals in which they're interested in performing for. So it gives you an idea of the quality of what your work is like compared to theirs, and it also can tell you where you can improve if you need improvement. Okay, if you can think of anything else I didn't cover, message me down below. Please hit the like button, and love it if you would subscribe. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.